Hey, it's the first gacha game that's being reviewed on my channel. That's gotta mean something, right? Also, all of my footage is gonna be from the first 5 hours of the game, though the first 1.5 aren't included, refer to the technical stuff section. Wuthering Waves was developed and published by Kuro Games, who previously created Punishing Gray Raven, set in the distant future where a mysterious disaster known as the Lament decimated the Earth. After the Lament nearly wiped out the human race, a small subset of humans have joined together in an effort to rebuild civilization. Your character is a rover who suffers from amnesia and is awoken from a deep slumber. In your journey, you'll explore the lands and find new friends to join your party. I'm gonna be honest, the story is kind of mediocre. The biggest problem with it is that in the very beginning, they dropped a shit ton of lore on the player without giving them time to experience the world first. As soon as you meet your companions, they start talking about the Lament and the Tacitites and the Resonance Nexus and shit, and it's like, calm the fuck down. Let the player kill something first before all of this exposition. Imagine if in Genshin, before you even get to Mondstadt, Amber started talking about the destruction of Conria and how the citizens were turned into hillagers. Imagine if in Destiny, before you get to the tower, your ghost gives you the witness's life story. Imagine if in Warframe, before you unlocked Cetus, Tesha magically appeared and started talking about the Zarim and Void job. No, wait a minute. You see what I'm getting at? All three of these games have relatively shitty new player experiences, but in terms of the lore, they at least ease the player in before all the expo dumping. Dropping a shit ton of lore on the player isn't a bad thing, it can be done well if executed properly, but it'll never be good if it's done within the first 5 minutes. I will, however, compliment the way Scar, who I'm assuming will become this first arc's main villain, was great. I love the way they handled the cinematics when he was talking about what happened to the village, and he spends a good 80% of his introduction just talking to us and setting up his personal philosophies instead of outright trying to kill us. We need more of this, please. Also, I don't want to sound too mean, but the English voice acting feels very flat. In fact, sometimes I was thinking to myself, did they use AI to generate these voices? I don't know if Hoyoverse bought up all the good VAs to work on Genshin and Star Rail, but it got to the point that I just swapped to Japanese and it's much better. Wuthering Waves is an open-world ARPG/gacha game. Unlike Genshin, the game has a much faster combat style. You can collect the echoes of enemies you fight in the open world and turn them into summons during battle. Each character has their own attack when you swap to them, and the game uses a concerto energy system which increases the effectiveness of your skills depending on how full it is. Other than that, in terms of the open world mechanics, it's a carbon copy of Genshin. The combat itself is so much better than Genshin's for me personally. I love Genshin, but Wuthering Waves being faster makes it feel more in tune with an old hack and slash game. And being able to summon the enemies you fight is a very cool concept that's executed pretty well.
Synchronization.
And the parry system, which is practically non-existent in Genshin bar a few characters like Beidou, is great. You can use your perfect dodges as defense or land a parry and deal more damage in the process. Other than that, the open world mechanics themselves, like I said, are a carbon copy of Genshin. That means it's also really fun to just explore the world, unlock the teleport waypoints, find treasure chests and all that. It feels like I'm playing Genshin in 2020 all over again. Oh boy, I have a lot to say here. Before I do though, I want to acknowledge and compliment the fact that Kuro is actively fixing all of these bugs. At the time of writing this, the game has been out for less than 24 hours, yet they're already committed to fixing the game, but they should stick to fixing the performance before working on any new content. The game is brand new, I'm sure a lot of players are still going to be exploring for a few weeks. Fixing the optimization should always be a priority. If you're going to focus instead on releasing new content, what's the point of that if players can't experience the content in the first place? The developers should take breaks and avoid burnout obviously, but when they're working, optimization should be the major focus. That doesn't negate the fact that the game launched in this state in the first place. I really don't care if multiple games nowadays are being released with shitty builds, it shouldn't be the norm. And I get if the developers wanted to move from Unity to Unreal Engine, I really do. But Unreal is much harder to work with on mobile devices because it's more demanding. Plus, it took Hoyoverse years to bring Genshin to the state it's in now. They should have hired some people who knew how Unreal works so they could work with it. I can't fucking play the game in full screen anymore after being able to for 4 hours. I get a completely black screen, and the only way to fix it is by playing the game in windowed mode. The game shouldn't be in this state at all, and wouldn't be in this state if the devs allotted themselves more time to work with Unreal. There is a really good foundation here for a fantastic game, and Kuro is slowly but surely proving themselves to be player friendly by being openly communicative, but the poor optimization combined with the overwhelming storytelling are not giving this game a good first impression. If the dev team can fix the performance and upgrade their story crafting in future updates, we'll have an actual Genshin contender. Wuthering Waves is available on PC via the Epic Games Store or direct download from the official website. It's also on mobile via Google Play and Apple's App Store. It's free to play and has no other versions of the game, so that's just how I'll end this. I want to give a quick channel update before the video ends. Part 2 of my God of War Ragnarok series was better performing than Part 1, and I am extremely grateful to see that. So if you watched the video, thank you so much for your support. Production on Part 3 is already underway, though that's been paused so I can work on reviews for both this game and Multiverses. The next 2 reviews after Multiverses are going to be Warframe's Jade Shadows update in June, as long as the cinematic quest is long and not just one mission like Veilbreaker, and Zenless Zone Zero in July. That's all for now, see you guys soon.